A long time ago in the quiet village of Apoda, the sun had barely risen, but already the streets were alive with chatter and excitement. In the middle of the village square stood a man, tall and proud, his head crowned with a strange and curious sight, a 5-inch horn growing from his forehead. People gathered around him, whispering in awe, some even bowing as if in the presence of something divine. This was the man they called Folarin, and he was believed to be the messenger of God sent to deliver blessings to the village. People would travel from far and wide just to catch a glimpse of him, hoping that his touch would bring them wealth, health, and abundant harvests. But Folarin knew something that the villagers did not. He wasn't a messenger of God. No, not at all. In fact, he was just an ordinary man who had woken up one morning to find a horn growing from his head. He had never seen anything like it. At first he had been scared and confused, but then the villagers began to treat him like a holy figure. They offered him food, gifts, and even money in exchange for his blessings. This is the life, Folarin thought to himself. I never imagined that a simple horn would bring me so much. So instead of confessing the truth, he embraced his new status. Every day he would stand in the village square, his chest puffed out, accepting the praises and offerings from the villagers who believed he was a godly messenger. The villagers had grown used to improving their lives. Crops were abundant, and their livestock seemed to flourish. They attributed all of it to Folarin's blessings. The elderly woman with a limp could now walk freely. The young farmers harvested their crops in record time. For the first time in years, the village was thriving, and they all believed it was because of the horned man. But one day, everything changed. A doctor, Dr. Obazi, has recently established a small clinic in the village. He was known for his calm demeanor and scientific knowledge. When he arrived in the village, he had heard the whispers about Oluwaseun, the divine messenger, and decided to meet him. As he approached the man in the village square, he couldn't help but notice the horn that everyone was so fascinated by. Is this truly a divine sign? Dr. Obazi wondered. He was eager to learn more, so he asked the villagers about the horn. They eagerly explained the blessing they believed it to be, how it had brought prosperity to their land. Dr. Obazi smiled gently, then spoke to the villagers in a voice that carried authority. What you are witnessing, he said, is not a divine blessing, but a medical condition known as a cutaneous horn. The villagers blinked in confusion. A what? One of them asked. A cutaneous horn, Dr. Obazi repeated. It's a growth of hardened skin cells that can form into a horn-like shape. It happens when the body overproduces keratin. It's not magical. It's not a sign from the gods. It's just a condition that can be treated. The crowd fell silent, unsure of how to react. But, an elder woman stammered, the crops, the health, we thought it was a gift from the gods. Dr. Obazi nodded. I understand your belief, but you've been deceived. The horn can be removed with simple surgery, and there's no divine power behind it. The villagers gasped, their faith in their beliefs starting to crumble. Some stared at Folarin with doubt for the first time. Folarin stood there, his heart racing. His mind began to spin. How could he confess now? He had lived for so long under the illusion that his horn had granted him power. How could he admit that it was nothing but a mere medical condition? But before he could speak, the village king, who had been watching from a distance, stepped forward. Folarin, the king said, his voice heavy with disappointment, you have deceived these good people. You allowed them to worship you, to offer you their wealth, their crops, their respect, all because of a lie. For that, you will be punished. The villagers murmured in agreement, their trust shattered. The king, after a long pause, announced that Folarin would be fined heavily for his deception. You will pay for the damage you've caused, the king declared. The people of this village trusted you, and you have betrayed them. Folarin lowered his head in shame, realizing that the lies had caught up with him. as he paid the fine and the horn was eventually removed by Dr. Obazi, the villagers slowly started to rebuild their faith, understanding that superstitions, while comforting, often clouded the truth. In the end, the village learned a valuable lesson. Blind faith in superstitions could lead to manipulation, but knowledge and truth would always shine brighter. And as for Folarin, though he had lost the village's favor, he vowed to rebuild his life on honesty, knowing that true blessings come from hard work and sincerity, not deceit.